Okay, before we're gonna start, I want a couple people to go over just kind of some questions from the who the hell is drawing a crayon? Is it Nelson? Are you doing this? It's probably Nelson. All right, just
I'm
a couple
driving,
questions.
it's not me.
It's not you? Who's being the silly butt? All right, come up with a couple of questions because I have some friends in here that normally already uses VAs. So then we can kind of target. I want to sort them out so that we're not bouncing all around on questions. So right now I have a couple flash questions which like should take 10 seconds to answer. And then I want to go over other questions that you guys may have.
How fast do you fire them?
Oh, okay, that's an interesting one.
We fired two, right? But that's a question to answer later.
That was for later. How about how do you guys do reviews? How about that? How do you screen VAs? Okay, so what do you guys think about these three questions? How fast do you fire them, or kind of the managing part? How do you do reviews or performance evaluation? Okay, how about what can they do for you? What can they do for you?
I think number one is for everyone that doesn't have a VA would be where do you find them?
Where do you find them? Okay, let me. Where do you hire VAs? Okay, does this look okay? About and then what is your compensation or benefit package like? How about that? Kind of limit to 5 questions for discussion because we only have kind of only an hour. It's not too crazy. And some simple things like just the flash questions. All right. So I'm gonna ask people to help me take notes if I'm missing anything. I already threw it in there. I don't want to, I kind of rather see your faces than like focus on those questions. Can you zoom in on the questions? Well, I'm going to actually give you guys the document so you guys can follow along and help take notes because some things that I might think is important and might not be. Okay, what questions do you screen? Okay, so kind of a show of hands in virtually if people can turn on their cameras, show me your beautiful faces, and then tell me who actually currently has a VA and who's okay. Uno?
I'd raise my hand, but I'm driving Annie.
Wait,
It's Jason.
who said that? Who said that? Who was the driving one? Jason?
Uh,
Jason?
this is Jason. Yeah, I'm in LA traffic right now, but I'm raising my hand virtually.
Got it. So I see I got Jason, I got Will, I got Stephanie, got Vivian, Giangelo. Good. All right. So let's play a game on how many VAs do you currently have? And then show me a finger or something. Will's got 4. Steph's got 5. Giangelo's got 7. Oh man, you're running out of fingers, dude. Cool. And then Vivian has 5. 5. See, I like it. This is how I force you guys to interact with me when it's all on Zoom. You show me your fingers. All right.
Christine and Jenny also said they have VAs, but they're on the live, not on the Zoom.
They're on the live and not on the Zoom. What do you mean?
The Facebook
Live,
one.
Facebook Live.
Oh, I thought
They're on Facebook Live, not on Zoom.
Hi, Christine. Hi, Jenny. Happy New Year, girls. Cool. All right. So next is I want to know what do you guys use your VAs for? Let's kind of go around. I'm gonna count on people and hopefully I remember who is in here. Will, you start.
Yeah, hey, William, I have 4 VAs. The first one is like an executive admin assistant. She's phenomenal. The other one, I have 2 cold callers, and then one for like graphics design, video editing. Actually, now that I think about it, I have 5 VAs. I have 2 video editors. Yeah. So just for myself, and I also run a digital marketing agency. So they help me with content, creating it for others.
Ooh, I don't know who Anonymous Hippo is, but can you help me keep taking notes? I'm going to focus on the chat. Thank you, Anonymous Hippo. Can you tell me a little bit about this exec assistant? What do they do actually?
She basically keeps me organized. So like I'm kind of like it depends on it depends on like what your role is. I'm more of a visionary, I have a lot of ideas, but like I'm constantly doing a lot of stuff. So I just send her ideas, she tries to organize it. Fun hack is if you're hiring an executive or admin, someone's about systems, ask them about their systems and like what they do. And if they can explain it really well, that means that's the person for you. And if you learn something, that's even better, right? So that's what she does for me. And then she handles phone calling, scheduling, email, you know. So what I do is I try to have a phone number where me and her can share it. And then like if I can't answer anyone or email or anything, she takes care of it. You know what I mean?
Got it. So you share a phone number, and then tell me a bit about this phone number thing. Is it like a Google number? How are you guys sharing?
Yeah, so there's different tools. There's something called Open Phone. I use Follow Up Boss. So if someone gets me a text and I want to just be on top of it, but I'm like in a meeting or talking to a client or something, I'm just like, hey, can you respond to this? Get this person the paperwork they need or the form or whatever, right?
Mhm. And are you having them answer pretending to be you, or is it like
Yeah, sometimes it is me. Sometimes I'm like, hey, just say you're an assistant, just like make sure, because sometimes the language is not the same, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So going back to, you said that you do marketing agency, and then cold calling. Is that for real estate?
Yes, that's for the real estate side, since I'm trying to source my own deals up in Seattle, Washington.
Perfect. So graphics, those are pretty easy. Video, perfect. So you're mostly real estate and then marketing. Perfect.
Mhm.
All right, Jason, I hope you are not on
Yeah.
a freeway or in any safety issue. You can tell me what
No.
you do.
I'm at a red light. So similar to Will, I have an executive kind of like an assistant. So mainly I give tasks like in three buckets. So there's my lending business, there's my own investments, and then my life. So pretty much he manages all of it. So scheduling, coordinating with the other VAs, and also delegating the work to them. And then I also have like one VA just dedicated for the investment, doing some guest comms. And then that VA reports to my executive assistant. So I kind of have like a main VA managing all of the other VAs.
Can you explain
Um,
the investment
and then
VA
also to
part?
share, oh yeah.
I missed the
So
part.
I
What?
have my short-term rent. Yeah, so the investment part, like I have short-term and mid-term rentals. So I also have him manage the portfolio. So if there's a guest or he needs to like price the, the daily rates, he also does that in addition to all my lending stuff and my personal stuff. But most of the tasks he doesn't do himself. He just delegates it to the other VA specific for those buckets.
Got it. So it
Does
sounds
that make
like,
sense?
yeah, it sounds like you have someone that manages the other VAs. And is
Yes.
this manager of VAs, is this different from this exec admin?
It's the same one. So he manages my life pretty much, and then delegates all of the tasks to the other VAs.
Got it. So you do lending, short-term rental, and do you also you have someone for the graphics then?
I do not. I think that's what I'm looking for. So if you guys have any recommendations, can't wink, wink, Will. I think I need that.
SARE agency.
Yeah. Also, plus one for Will's recommendation on open phone. So we have like different phone numbers for each of my buckets. So I have like an open phone number for lending, open phone number for the investments, and then for each of those, like we kind of share the numbers within our team based on who's assigned to that bucket. So yeah, it's like a really cool way of kind of monitoring who's responding to what messages. Um, and
Did
also like,
y'all
yeah,
look
oh,
at Ring Central as well? Or
I'm not familiar with Ring Central. What is
did
that,
you
Nelson?
look at Ring Central as well? Why did
Yeah, I looked into Ring Central before. I just ended up going with Open Phone because it was just referred more. So that's kind of the reason why. But I do want to play more with Ring Central.
And with the Ring Central, with the phones, like you're only using it for outbound calls into the US. When you guys are internally communicating, you're not using that, right?
There's a chat thing. It's like you can add a chat on each that is not visible to whoever we're talking to,
Mm,
if that makes sense.
makes sense. Cool. All right. So I hear short-term rental, lending business, cold calls, exec assistant. How about Jangela? What do you use your VA for?
So I have 9 virtual assistants, actually. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. They all do guest management for short-term rentals. And then one of them, another one, the 6th one is a team lead. The 7th one is a bookkeeper, and
You have 9.
yeah. And then the 8th one is HR, and then the 9th one is another guest management, but it's more like admin.
Your yes, management. And then Jangela, if you have 9, are all of these full-time? Because that's a lot of mouths to feed.
Only 2 of them are part-time.
Which 2?
The HR, they've been kind of coming in almost every month. And then also I have an admin who is part-time. Another one might be part-time, might terminate her, but I need to figure that out.
And then can you tell me how come this admin person is like part-time? Because like I imagine like the others, they kept talking about having an exec assistant or admin type of person. Is this like a different type of role?
That admin, she wanted to be part-time because she was like stressed out or something. So I just had her go from full-time to part-time. She had some like kind of like family issue or whatever. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Got
some
it.
of the guest management, they also do admin too. It's just I just call them guest management because they also pick up the phones.
That's cool. All right. And how about Steph? How about you?
So I think now that I think about it more, I think we have like more than 5. We probably have closer to 8 to 9, but we also have the VA agency too. So there's different spots. So personally for me, I have an executive VA. I have 3 Airbnb VAs. I also have a community manager for STR Nation. We have a bookkeeper VA for Bravo VAs. We have a VA coach that she handles all of our client VAs. And then I also have a copywriter and then a graphics designer that are more ad hoc. And then I have a bunch of other VAs that need jobs too. So, but those are the ones I interact with, probably rate more on the most.
Cool. And then how about Vivian? If you use your voice
Guys,
phone.
I actually have a total of 7 VAs, but a few of them are part-time. Sorry, my voice, I've got a cold and losing my voice. My favorite VA of all, but don't tell anybody, is my personal assistant. I hired her at the end of December, and she's honestly changed my life. She has access to 2 of my email inboxes. She cleaned up like 22,000 emails for me and filed everything away, cleaned everything up. I wake up every morning by 7:07 in the morning. She tells me what emails I need to read, which ones are urgent, which ones have a deadline, and she just keeps me on task every single day. In addition, she's like really skilled artistically, so she does all my Canva. I do a ton of presentations, so there's a lot of like presentation posters. I got to organize mailing lists. I have to organize like nurturing emails. She writes all my email nurtures for me. So what she does is we discuss, maybe 10 different topics that she can write about. She uses ChatGPT to sort of write those stories out, and then she uses another program to rewrite it to make it a lot more American friendly, I guess, like less robotic.
What's that second one called to make it less robotic?
I don't remember what it's called. She'll even go on LinkedIn and scrape email addresses for me. My goodness, she's like, I pay her $16 an hour. But she is honestly my best hire. She's in the Philippines. Like she makes executive level money in the Philippines. But she's honestly, I literally have barely had to train her. I just throw things at her and she gets it done.
Love it. Cool.
Yeah,
So I think
six-
we'll,
Awesome.
he does a lot though.
Yeah,
$6
is a
an
lot, but-
hour.
Yeah, but if you think about what she takes away from me, and I don't have to train her, and I just give her stuff and she gets it done, it's incredible. My other VAs, sorry, let me go back. I have two VAs in the US. They're virtual assistants because they don't work, they work remotely. One handles all my hospitality stuff, like any kind of inbound housing requests, matching housing for requests that come in. And I have another one that handles all of our membership base for my business. I also have a video producer. He does all my YouTube channels, well, he was trying to do my coursework, but I think my current VA, like my personal assistant's able to replace him. I also have a website VA that does all my website admin stuff and audits all my website information. I have a bookkeeper that's part-time, and then I also have an Airbnb part-timer. So a lot.
As a quick heads up, average wage in the Philippines is $2 an hour, and VAs will typically get 4 to 6. So 16 is definitely like above livable wage for sure.
Yeah, but I'm now as important to her as she is to me.
That was so sweet.
Yeah, I was wondering, where'd you source your VA? Sounds like she's a superstar.
She is an absolute superstar. I got her from Coconut VA.
Coconut VA. How Filipino is that? Is she Filipino?
Yeah, she's Filipino. She's yeah.
Filipinas.
Good. All right, since we kind of have like an idea of what you guys are using it for, basically it sounds like everything. So let me go over the flash questions. Those are just some things that shouldn't take really long for you to answer, just like 10 seconds. So what are the hours that you are working with them? Because it's, they're overseas 16, 17 hours away. Are they working your hours or they work their hours?
I can go. They work, so it depends on what their roles are. So for the SCR VAs, we cover the Eastern hours, so they would be earlier, wake up earlier than I do. They are full time, 8 hours, 5 days a week, and then we have some weekend coverage. We don't cover a lot of the night times for the SCR. My executive assistant though works 9 to 5, yeah, Pacific, same as me.
So for them, they're really running on grave night shift, right? Or graveyard shift. Got it. How about the others? Are you guys similar? Giangelo?
Yeah, pretty much the same reason.
So you also, so for Steph, you also have a Pacific timer and night person then.
Yeah, so for the Airbnbs, they run on Eastern time, and then for my personal VAs or the ones I interact with, they're on Pacific time with me.
Got it.
And then for RVAs, they start from 8 a.m. They go to 5 p.m. And then we have a 4 p.m. to 1 a.m. And we also have a 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. We have 3 shifts. And they get 2 days off, but they work 5 days a week.
Got it. And then next question, what countries do you hire these from?
Philippines. There's my Miss Universe answer right there.
Isn't that the France, that one?
Why don't we go with, does anyone not source VAs from the Philippines here?
I've sourced VAs from Nigeria. Yeah, and that's the only one.
Why Nigeria?
I also had one, but I fired her really quickly. I forgot about that.
Yeah, I have editors in Pakistan and there's a site, I think it's called like Shepherd Support or Support Shepherd, and they have Mexican VAs, and I heard from some people that Mexican VAs are really good.
I also had one in Pakistan as well, and he's actually my email and tech support, and I just use him ad hoc.
And I think we have someone from India. I forgot if he's Indian, but for bookkeeping.
He's
Oh,
Indian.
where did you
we-
find the Nigerian virtual assistants?
So I was looking for a very specific skill set for Monday.com, which is my CRM. And I don't know if they're churning about a lot of certifications out of Nigeria, but if you go on Upwork, a whole lot of people that are using Monday.com are from Nigeria.
Got it.
All right, next question. How do you pay them? These are foreigners. Do you fill out 1099s? How do you manage that stuff?
I pay them through this app called Wise. So I think it's I didn't even know what it is, like a wire transfer thing. For some reason, PayPal, they don't prefer PayPal or any other ones. That's what they prefer, so that's what I use. I don't know about 1099. I've never filed one. Do I have to file that one?
If they're out of the country, we don't have to do 1099s.
Oh, okay.
Correct. So this is a question I
It's-
checked with CPA. You use a 1098, the WEBNE version.
Correct. And they changed the tax law this year so that you have to depreciate their labor now over, I think, like 5 years or something if they're out of country.
Wait, how do you depreciate labor?
Yeah, what the?
It's a running cost, but now you can't claim it in the first year. You have to spread it out over 5, I think, is what the way they changed the rule if you're taking labor internationally
We
that
get
you're trying to write.
depreciation.
Yes,
Cool.
I guess they're an
That's
asset.
interesting. I never knew about that. I'm
Can you
gonna
drop a link on that?
Yeah, let's get Tony to clarify that for me
Yeah.
too.
because I'm taking down notes right now, so I'm gonna send a reminder to ask him because that's how I knew that we had to do the 1098 because we just switched our part-timer to full-time, and so the instructions from his team told me that one, I have to fill out the 1098. They're not gonna actually we don't need to issue a 1099 at the end of the year, but we have to have them fill out that form and then file it with just upload it onto your records with them. And he said the best practice is to have an employment contract. So he says it's just kind of standard business things, but I didn't hear about the depreciation thing, so we'll have to check in with him.
Oh, it's good to know.
Yeah. All right, and then the other thing that he let me know that we need to do in terms of tracking for payments is that you either have to do an invoice, like if their salary, you have to create an invoice to say that this is whatever it's for. The other way you can do this also is track their hours, like through Clockify, and then upload that as part of your receipts. All right, so that's kind of all the fast questions. But next part, I'm going to actually have you guys start kind of a conversation on well-being. Let's where do you hire your VAs, and what websites do you guys use, and whether these are like agencies or they paid services?
Online jobs.
Yeah, online jobs at PH is one. That's a good one. And then for me, just referrals, because it's kind of very niche. And if you go to online jobs, I don't know if someone has like a tip on how to go through all these applicants, but for me, like it's such a chore to go through all of those applicants. But if it's a referral, then I know, I can trust that person making that referral, and it's kind of like easier to vet.
How about Angelo? You have so many. How do you sort them all?
The same as Jason. Online jobs.
Online jobs. Ooh.
I like Facebook groups. Actually, there used to be a group like Airbnb virtual assistants, but then I think they took it away. But there's a lot of similar ones just like that for any type of VA that you're looking for.
Then how do you screen them? Say that like how do those websites work? Do you just kind of post a job description and people apply to you, or like is it a pre-made application, or how does that work?
I put like a simple job posting with kind of like the deal breakers and then ask them to email their resume to me. And then I pretty much have like 3 phases where if I like their resume, then I'll send a Google form, and that's kind of like the start of their application once I see the resume.
For me, I have them send their resume and audio, because I want to make sure they have good English. And then from there, I have my HR person just do the first interview. If they pass the first interview, which has a role play too, because I want to make sure they're able to communicate. They'll go to, they'll take an assessment through Test Gorilla, but we might use equip.com next. And they also take a property management exam, and then they do a final interview with me.
Where do you get this property management exam thing? Is it something you wrote?
Yeah, I just put it
Yeah.
on Google Forms and I put a timer on it.
Dang, that's hella detail on like how you screen them. It feels like it's the same as if like a US person is like trying to get a job. So like multiple rounds and tons
It's
of-
hard.
I do the disc test for all of our VAs too. So like 123test.com is a free one, and I have all my VAs do that personality test in addition.
Can you tell me what is this test and why do you need them to take a personality test?
I've come to learn you want to hire for the role, not the task. Even on paper, if they look good. By the time I do interview them, which is like phase 3 to 4, I'm asking technical questions more. I'm asking more scenario based. Before I have having the personality test, it helps me understand how they think. Just because for me, I don't mind having somebody that might not have all the experience, but they have the makings for the role. Then I'm happy to mold them into what we want for them. So that's worked out for me. And we do this for other folks too. So I've made the mistakes of just hiring based on their qualifications and not seeing if they're actually a good fit for either myself or the rest of my VAs. So that's why I do the personality test.
And then it sounds like it's a pretty like, long application process and like review time. And it sounds at least what on their part, maybe a couple hours of work to get this ready for this interview. Do you guys like pay them for their time or they just do it because they want the job?
Well, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I couldn't hear you, Jay.
I can go. So for me, like kind of hack is like if you have a VA already, like they can do the interviewing for you, so you don't need to spend that time. Also, like in the very beginning, I get VA to send like a specific task for the applicants, so that if they can follow this, then okay, they're through. And then I'm gonna have my executive VA interview that person. I already have like some kind of like preset questions for them, and I'm gonna have him record it, and then he's gonna pick the best 3, and I let him pick because he's gonna be the one managing these people, these other VAs, and then I would just watch the interview process that they recorded, and then like get a feel of how do they speak, like how do they respond to my executive VA's questions, and then if one of them or 2 of them like passes what I'm looking for, then I'm gonna set up that interview. So like from like hundreds of applicants, it kind of distills to maybe top 3 or top 5 for me to spend time interviewing them personally. And then I think you asked about the payment as well, Annie? Yeah. So I offer for everyone, it's like I tell them right away, it's like a unpaid 1 week kind of like a test, and then to see if we're the right fit. And then after that, then it's gonna be like a quick review. It's not, so I just tell that that's how we do it.
Oh, okay. Got it. Who's this JC person that's kind of loud? I'm gonna mute that person. Okay. So let me see if if I'm wrapping this in my head, if I understand it correctly. So what you guys first do is you're gonna have a detailed job description of what you're looking for, what you're hiring, and then you blast those onto these forums, these websites, and then you have them either fill out an application or send a resume to, it sounds like your HR person, which is going to be run by these, it's not really you guys doing it. If you like their resume, you have a Google form application with a series of different questions. Some have like recording audios or videos. And then if you like them, then you have them do either an exams, a role play, personality tests, and then was it what other interviews? Did I get them all as a summary of all the steps? Good. Oh, like that's quite a lot of things. Cool.
Well,
And-
when I used Coconut VA, I interviewed with them first as an office, and I explained to them kind of what I'm looking for, what kind of skill set, what I'm trying to achieve in my business. And then they sent me 3 or 4 candidates that came prepared with a video specifically for me and how they thought that they could help me in my business. That way I can kind of learn a little bit about their personality and also understand how well versed and well spoken they are.
Did you say that this is through the Coconut VA?
Yeah, through Coconut VA.
So this one, it sounds more like an agency then.
It is an
compared to-
agency.
Ah,
Saved
agency.
me so much time because I've hired my own VAs directly before, and it's a lot more work.
Yes.
I wanted them to screen someone that had full competency that I was looking for, that I didn't have to go for, that I wouldn't have to do it myself.
Can you tell me how, like the differences on working with an agency for VA versus you finding yourself, like how does the charges work to pay those agencies, like a placement fee of some sort?
So I've worked with 2 before. One they gave me 2 failed VAs. I could not handle them, and I was paying those VAs $9 an hour. Both of them didn't work out. They were just not the skills. It could have been my hiring fault as well. I've gotten way better at that. But we're working with an agency helps keep that VA accountable, because if they're with the agency won't try to rehire them, or they might second guess whether they would place them again. And the reason why a VA might go to an agency is because I've heard of a lot of VAs getting screwed and not paid by whoever hired them. That happens a lot too. So a lot of them, the ones that are good, they like to go to an agency that makes sure that they get paid on time, they get paid on schedule, they get paid in the full amount. And also they'll advocate for them to get their bonuses or pay raises every year, which I think is totally fair if they're getting a good job. They're doing a good job.
Ah, so that means they're the ones. So you're not paying them the VAs directly. You're going to pay them through an agency, and then the agency will handle the payments for the
Yeah.
VA.
It's kind of like hiring an HR company.
And then so is that why I'm assuming that it costs like this 19 or the $9 or 16, that it sounds like it's a lot higher than if we did it ourselves. So they're taking kind of like a percentage of the pay?
I'm sure they are. I'm
Yeah.
sure they are. But honestly, the kind of skill set that my VA is probably more skilled than I am.
Mhm.
Right. And she's a very critical thinker, and she's way more skilled. Like, she put together my entire course for me. I just literally put the contents together, and then she did my entire course for me, all 12 modules. She edited a lot of the stuff. I mean, like, it looks incredible.
So how did you guys do this part? Because like, okay, they're a VA, but they don't know anything about real estate. Like they don't know lending stuff. How
Right.
how
So
are
I
they
wrote 12 chapters, like bullet points, and she translated my bullet points into actual information that could be digested. And then she made it look pretty. She did all my branding, all my colors, all my copyrights. I mean, like, she's incredible.
Well, and then this leads to my other question about with the agency. Like, do you guys have to offer any, other than paying them, do you guys have to offer them any benefits?
I could probably actually chime in on the agency side, just because I have my own agency now, so I can give clarity on what Vivian's saying, but on what we do when we source VAs for people. We cover like the bonuses in-house. We cover their training. So if they need more English, we actually have an English class. We have an academy, at least for our agency. So that's how they are pre-trained before they get placed with anybody. So there's like quite a bit of other behind the scenes stuff. We even have a coach in-house that if a VA is ever struggling, like they're basically being kept tabs, because I've done freelance hiring myself. I've even had clients who stopped paying us. So we end up having to cover that, or I've actually covered that myself. So we've learned to vet also clients on the other end. So it's definitely a lot that goes back and forth on it. And I've seen both because I've done both and experienced both, and even hire now in-house instead of doing freelance anymore. But it helps because there's a lot more vetting involved too. It's not perfect because we've had sometimes AVA sometimes isn't because it's hard to control it, but we have the backup if something does happen, which I've learned is nice, because I used to have it where I fired VAs before I even had an agency, and then you have to start over from scratch. So yeah, the role is to make it much easier, because I'm like, man, I wish I had this like from the very get-go, but now it's like we have an idea of what people need because of that experience.
And then when you're working with an agency, then am I like, say I want to work with one, am I stuck like, oh, you can only hire a full-timer? I can't go like,
no. Oh, no. You can, at least for us, we're very customizable. Like we have one that only works an hour for a client. We have one that works full-time, part-time. It's super customizable, whatever you need. So.
And then how does the payment work for that? Like if I'm doing just one-offs or a couple hours, like am I paying by the hour, or do I have to pay a placement fee plus hourly for something for their work?
So there's a one-time onboarding fee that gets charged just once, even if let's say you're not happy with it after a while and you want to swap VAs, that doesn't get charged again. It's either by the hour or fixed, but it depends on the type of VA, and it's also on whatever the person needs. So we have different people with different payment styles. So I don't know what other people do, but we're very customizable because we get it, and they're all real estate trained. We even have a physician that does medical scribing with us, so they're kind of like an outlier since most of my other VAs are real estate. But it could be either by the hour or fixed, or by a la carte package if it's like a social media VA.
Oh, that's hella cool. So are you saying that in case the 30 to 40 people who signed up for this webinar, that they didn't do their taxes and they didn't do their bookkeeping, and it's tax season right now, if they come to you and you have the bookkeeping, connections, you can help us out?
Absolutely. Yes. It's funny because I'm looking for key hires, and I'm telling my executive VA I'm trying to strategically place it, but we're looking in-house to keep adding. So yeah, we have bookkeeper VAs. We have everything.
I like it. Cool. And then say you guys are hiring like a full-timer or like a like a salary type of employee. How do you guys put together like a compensation or a benefit package for them? What do you guys usually include? Or how do you structure that?
I'm gonna feel so bad, but I don't offer any health benefits or insurance or anything like that. But I do offer like bonuses. So pretty much all of the holidays, sometimes even like Filipino holidays, I pay for it, and then they can take the days off. So in total, it's almost like 21 days kind of like paid. And then they have another 7 days for vacation.
Wait, so 28 days total?
Yeah, Filipinos have a lot of holidays. It's pretty cool.
This is embarrassing. They get more paid days off than I do. I only have 12 a year.
Or $6, Annie.
I'm waiting for Nelson to turn me into a stay at home work wife, but he's not fast enough.
I would love to share how I found my like the kind of screening I did to find my rockstar VA.
Was it roster VA?
What?
Did you say roster VA?
My rockstar
Oh,
VA.
rockstar. Okay.
So after hiring so many people and firing enough people, I really made it an effort to really try to hone in on the right person. And like Stephanie said, I didn't focus so much on the skill set. I actually focused a lot on the personality. So it was really, really important to me to find someone that has a huge thirst for knowledge. Someone, the kind of person that will go down a rabbit hole to problem solve something, right? I know a lot of us, when we encounter a problem, you're like, okay, how do I figure it out? And you won't give up until you figure it out. I wanted someone just like that. So to screen for that, you have to kind of screen for grit. You screen for problem solving skills and scenario testing, like Stephanie said. But one thing that I really wanted was like, what are you reading right now? What kind of books do you enjoy reading? Do you like learning books or do you like fantasy books? Do you like, so I wanted someone that really enjoyed, documentaries or learning about other people or learning new skill sets. And then I also want someone that's self-motivated. So how do you find someone that's self-motivated? At least for a personal assistant, this is a really, really important thing. I needed someone that was like, I said, what do you do when you get bored? Like, you have absolutely nothing to do. What do you do? And she's like, oh, I'm trying to learn the skill set right now. I'm trying to assemble flowers, or I'm trying to do this. Like, that tells me that they're good at like keeping themselves occupied and finding projects for themselves. And then another one that I asked is like, what sports do you play, or what sports do you have experience playing? When I think back to my own experience in sports, playing sports shows that you're coachable, number one, right? If you're coachable, that means that you can learn, you can take constructive feedback. Number two, are you disciplined enough to show up on time? If we're going to work as a team, I need you to show up on time, and I need you to show up for your teammates. Number three, in team sports, I find that anticipation skills are really important. I played volleyball. I always had to anticipate what my teammates are going to do, what my opponents are going to do. So being able to anticipate my needs that are coming in next was really important. Like if I'm standing next to my husband and he's fixing something, I can anticipate what tool he's going to need next. Or if he's going to need a shop towel next because something's going to spill. Being emotionally intelligent is super important. It was for me. And then just like Stephanie said, on the DISC assessment, I needed somebody that could do everything that I can, but with a different personality. So I'm highly an I, and maybe some might call me a D, but I needed someone that's an S or a C, someone very stable and someone very calculated and competent. I forget what S and C stand for, Stephanie.
You're right.
It's steadiness is S, and then C, I forgot what C was.
Yeah, but like the C means that they're really, really good at deep diving in numbers. And then S is someone that likes a really, really stable environment that's like, what do you call it? Predictable, right? So like I'm super dynamic. I'm all over the place. Just like William said, my mind is racing with a million thoughts a minute. I go on WhatsApp and I dictate my thoughts, and then she just organizes it, and then we reconvene and we talk about it.
Oh my God, we need to get someone like this for Nelson. His mind goes like 200 miles an hour.
And that's our problem as visionaries, right? Like you're always constantly thinking about those. So that helped me hire exactly the person that I needed.
So going back onto that DISC personality test. So say someone that's starting out and they're trying to hire. How do I know what personality to hire?
There's a
You
test.
should take one yourself first, and then
Yeah.
you'll find out what you are. And then I think it depends on the role though, because like my personal assistant, she's like, I wanted her to be like me, but again, a different personality completely. Because I am also like Will and Vivian. I'm very like miles per hour. I've literally brain dumped with my VA, and she's organized it. Like I've had like a 2-hour conversation driving to San Diego, and I'm like, I just need to talk to somebody, and then you could just put them into our project management software, and then we'll go over priorities. And so she's just like that. But my Airbnb VAs, I have them. They're a lot nicer and patient. So a whole different personality for that. So I think it really depends on the role that what you need.
But starting off is to take one yourself, then write down all the stuff that you want, and then a personality of what you hope that person will be like how Vivian said, like I need someone that is X, Y, Z, and then translate it into whatever they have for the
do well with
discount.
women, you are going to have to understand it as an art. You don't need to be fake, but you do need to be strategic.
So you don't have to be fake, but you have to be strategic. Interesting. That's something to think about. I never thought about us doing this task. I'm like, oh, that should be okay. All right, and then other questions I have is, how do you guys handle communications with them, like and keeping track of all the work that you guys need to do, or again accountability.
Okay, I'll go. I think this is kind of weird. So we have like a room that is always on, like during office hours with me, executive VA, because I'm always in front of my computer anyway. So it's pretty much just like we're in an office, like face to face, and then we'll just be working. And then, but we're muted, right? But if I need something, then I'll just unmute myself and then say, "Hey, Ray, I need this. This is very urgent. Can you help me with this?" And then if I'm not, but all of the communications for the other VAs, we go through Slack. And then each day I have all of the VAs. So for like every Monday, they should have like a weekly priority based on like the monthly goals for each of the bucket that I spoke of earlier. And then they break it down into weeks. And then every Monday they post that. And then every day they have those tasks that we measure at the end of the day posted when they sign in. So when they sign in, here are my tasks that I'm trying to accomplish. And then that's kind of like how I do like a daily, weekly, and monthly review of whatever we talked about that month.
And then question back onto the virtual room that they're in and everyone's in there. Is that how you make sure that they're actually working? Like they actually showed up, called?
It's just me and my executive VA, and it's not much of like I'm monitoring them. It's just like it's gonna be easier for me to communicate because like I can't fully delegate all of the lending stuff because there are some things that you need a license for, and I don't want to delegate all of those things. So it's but for the tasks that I need to be done, like research right away, so that I can give pricing to some clients, like he does all the research, so that I can give an answer to a client, looking for a quote or whatever, or asking me to, check the ERV for them. So that's kind of like the purpose of that Zoom call is just like for speed.
And for actually all of you guys, do you ever have a concern that, hey, they're actually just kind of chilling at home and not working in certain hours or chunks of hours? Or how do you guys mitigate that concern?
I'm curious about that too, because I'm very trusting person, so I just don't want to hurt them.
I
Because
pay
that
for
was an issue,
performance. As long as they get their shit done, I'm good.
Yeah, I use WhatsApp for main communications, and then my project management software is ClickUp. So, and those deadlines, and they know by the end of their shift to update those. But we do stuff differently for our clients. But for me personally, I just use WhatsApp, and based on whether they're talking back to me and how quickly, I'll know.
For us, we use Top Tracker for their hours, and it also tracks their keyboard clicks, their clicks and their keyboard things, and then it also does a screenshot every 5 minutes. But we're switching to Time Doctor because we want to make sure that we capture all the monitors and every single app that they're using. And we set it to 3 minutes, and we have a dashboard with all their hours and what apps they're using for every single VA. We're a little
Is
anal.
that kind of like, is that taking like snapshots of what they're doing?
Yeah, because we're trying to, we don't always look at the screenshots. We're trying to deter people working more than one job during our shift. That's the biggest.
that was something I was concerned about, like whether they're showing up and if they're taking multiple jobs, especially if I'm hiring a full-timer.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Do you mean like so you would hire a VA and then they would hire another VA, and it's like a VA arbitrage?
No, or they're just doing multiple jobs. Maybe they're just
Yeah.
fast at it. And
Some-
then they go,
some just
oh, I'm
do
sorry, I need more time to work on your shit,
Mm. Oh man, should I do that now? Or
Like,
Yeah,
it
do you
feels like draconian, right? It sounds draconian, but like, it's a legit concern.
yeah.
Didn't a lot of IT and tech people do that during the pandemic? In the US, they took on like 2 jobs.
They did.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sunny.
Right.
Sunny raised his hand.
And that's what I do too.
You get terrible VA, Sunny, then. Raul was like, I would be fired from my W-2 if they did that.
think I did that right before I quit my job. I had my real estate stuff and my W-2 stuff at the same time working from home, and my production went down. So I'm guilty too.
All right, and then how do you guys do feedback for them, like performance reviews, or do you guys regularly do one-on-ones or provide additional training? How do you guys work that out?
One-on-ones and then monthly reviews.
And then how do you get rid of someone you're not really happy with? That was one of the questions there. How do you fire, or how fast do you fire if you don't like them?
For us, if it's in the first 3 months, we terminate them right away. But if it's after 3 months, like after the probation period, we'll give them 2 IRs from what my team lead gives them, I guess. Forgot what it meant. Incident reports, I think. And then from there, we just terminate them right after that.
So it sounds like it's like a performance review thing where like you're in a path to make changes, and then if you don't meet, then you get another one, and then you get fired.
Pretty much, yeah.
Wow, that's so nice. Not like, oh, I ran out of hours. I don't really like you. I'm just gonna slowly go so you can give you fewer hours. Yeah. Cool. All right, and then someone asked in here, is like, do you think AI will replace VAs, or are these essentially like human tasks that you have them do? This is a weird question. Will AI replace your VAs?
I don't
Who wrote that one? Can that person explain this one more? Who wrote that question?
Oh, I can share.
Oh,
So
okay.
I used to have a content creator that made all of my YouTube stuff and my shorts and everything, but with the onset of AI tools, like I use video.ai, now I can take any content that I've recorded that I've linked on YouTube, and my personal assistant can now use video AI, and it chops everything up. So all she has to do is brand it and then post it. So that saves me a ton of money because I'm already paying for my VA. I don't have to pay another person for something else.
Oh man, for those who are doing social media in here, I'm working on scheduling this AI's CEO to do a presentation for us. You're gonna love like that software. They'll save you way more time. But yeah, so it doesn't sound like you can actually replace like really the work that they're doing. It still needs a lot of human eye, especially as you guys are using a lot for customer service, of kind of the face orienting things, and it's not going to be easy to replace by AI. I think it's just tools to help them speed up their work and maybe hire fewer, but not to really replace them. Would you guys agree?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, I like to go by the 4 C's, which can't be replaced by AI: creativity, collaboration, communication, and critical thinking.
That's true. Because they can produce the stuff, but it doesn't mean that things are on brand or what you were looking for. They're just creating short clips for the volume, but it's not quality content. That's good. All right. We're almost at the top of the hour, but before I want to end, I want each of the folks that are using VAs is to give us something like maybe an advice that you wish you had known when when you were starting to get a VA.
I'll go first. I would say training, like training is one of the most important things. I think sometimes we forget what's in our brain is not what other people know. So being able to have everything organized to set them up for success is crucial before hiring a VA. I'd say it, or makes it much easier and nicer and smoother when you kind of know exactly what they will need being brand new to your world.
But it sounds really hard to stay organized. Like, am I supposed to really write an entire SOP before I hire?
Oh,
'Cause it
not
sounds
that,
really
not that.
daunting.
Not an
Yeah.
SOP. All my VAs did my SOPs. More so just like what is it that you want? What do you need? Or just some more clarity on like what their roles is supposed to look like, kind of thing. Sometimes I've had been like I've done that where I hired somebody a little too soon and then we're figuring it out together, but I feel bad because I should have figured this out a little bit sooner, so it's not like they could have hit the ground running much faster. That's what I mean.
Good one.
And then I want to just add to what Stephanie said. Like, also one thing that I learned is that training has a true cost. So I think from also what Vivian said about, hiring this rockstar VA and paying, whatever she's paying, I feel like if I had hired someone and more skilled or, nice than I am, instead of just looking at the skills directly and not looking at anything else, I think that would have saved me more time on the training. Because now that I'm looking back, like I realized I spent so much time like training, like my very first one, and if I had, just taken the time to kind of like review their skills and did like tests and do this assessment, then I think that would have made them more productive faster.
And also with a
Yeah.
lot of the roles that you guys had mentioned, because I heard 4 people say the exec admin first. Was that actually the first role that you guys hired for, or one of like the other little smaller roles?
Yeah, that was my main motivation. Everything that I didn't want to do, I want to find someone that can do it.
But then, like, 'cause the thing is that the exec admin role thing that you guys are describing, it sounds like they're doing everything though. Like, how do you try to hire someone that does everything? Like,
Well,
that's not
yeah,
work.
so I don't know if
$50
it's
an hour.
yeah. I don't know if it's necessary everything, but it feels like everything to the person because they're doing everything you don't want to do, right? And like for a visionary like Vivian, me, it's like we need a systems person. You know what I mean? We need someone who's organized because that's not us, right? And Russell Brunson said something really good. It was like there are doers in this world, there are people managers, there are starters, and there are finishers. So figure out what you are and then hire for the rest.
That's a good
That's
point.
super good, William. My brother actually taught me something called a capabilities map. And you can actually get this from the Harvard Business Review book. Essentially, it's before you even get started, first find out what your personal goals are, your business goals are, and then write down on a spreadsheet every single thing you do, down to the social media creation, down to creating tiny URLs, down to scheduling cleaners, whatever it is, right? Write down every little thing that you do for your business. And then you have to categorize them in 3 buckets. 1, is it a strategic item? Number 2, are you effective at it? And number 3, are you efficient? When you understand which items are strategic, you keep those. And if you're efficient at it and you're strategic, keep it. But if it's not strategic, you're not effective, and it's not efficient, outsource it.
I fully agree with what Vivian said. I'm not sure if any of you guys have read this book called Traction by Gino Wickman. You have it right behind. I have it right in my room too, and like it's something it's that we always have to get. Oh, great! Everyone is taking that book out. I love that book. Man, I should find him as a Zircon speaker or something and like sell the book or an arbitrage or whatever. But yeah, that was a book that Nelson and we first started reading, and then we took like a disc personality assessment and we wrote down everything we wanted to do and started sorting out like who's good at it and who's better at certain things. And I think that really helped us like put rather than us feeling we have to do everything. It's like you just do what you're best at, that your strongest skill set. And that was really like a game changer. And then we realized that everything we hated doing, it turned out to be 2 pages long, and panic attack happens, and there we go. We get our very first VA helping out. So that was a really good advice. Hey, William, how about you? If you can go back in time to meet your extremely tired self, pre-VA days, what advice would you give yourself?
Yeah, that's a great question. Same thing as everybody else. I would also add like hire slow, especially in the beginning, and fire fast. My first hire, I thought I was a bad hire, or I thought I was just bad at like hiring people, right? And like maybe I could never do this because the person was hired to do tweets and she tweeted 2 times an hour. And I'm like, okay, something's, you know what I mean? So what I realized is I had to fire her fast instead of like letting it drag on and just like learning from every single hire. So now every time I hire someone, I go really slow. And if something's off, those are usually red flags, and just try to fire fast within like the first like week or second week. The other thing I would add is just having like SOPs. You don't have to write them yourself, but every hire, try to just have them track and write everything they're doing and everything they learned so that you don't have to do it and they're just like the trailblazer.
So, okay, let me go back to this SOP thing, because this is a question that I've been like, concerned with myself with writing. So would you say that you start off with writing some basic notes just to get them started, and then every time you teach it to them, they should be taking notes based off of whatever shared notes that you guys do, and that becomes your SOP?
Perfectly well said. Yeah, like just start off with something rudimentary, and then as you teach them, then they have to like learn it and then teach it to somebody else, and it creates this system and it just builds off of itself, you know,
Then
because
how
you want to
often?
make it as reusable as possible, right?
But what if I don't hire someone new for a long time and we just kind of make the changes to, do you regularly have them come back to change SOPs? Like here, 5 hours, go only focus on your SOPs.
Yeah, I guess it depends on the role, but usually I want them to like the moment they learn it, I want them to like make sure they create a video if they have time and there's like space for it, and then like then it also helps them learn it as well, right?
So you're saying your SOPs are video and not like written things?
Yeah, so it depends on the task. So let's say like scheduling content and using like Metrocool, right? Then I want them to like do it, learn it, and then just like do a quick video on it. Like you enter your password, you go to this tab, here's all where the videos are, pull it in, stuff like that. Because your job is to actually grow your hire if you can, and then have them hire another person and just like create that system and just like keep it growing and growing, right?
True. And videos, I feel like it's a lot faster to do than like, hey, let me stop and sit down, write these things, and screenshot everything.
I
So
love Loom.
Yeah, 100%. And
did you
everybody
consider
is
that
different at
Zoom?
learning, right? Everybody
Yeah.
like people like visual, people like hearing, stuff like that.
Cool.
Some can skip the loom part. So like remember like how I have the Zoom room with my executive thing assistant. So I would just say, hey, Ray, start recording this. I'm going to show you a new step that I learned from this, from this. I'm going to show you how to do it. So I'm going to show him how to do it. And then he's going to be the one who's going to write that SOP. And our SOPs is like that video of the recording plus any like small bullet points that he needs to write down. So for example, if there's a new login, then he would put that on like a Notion page. But we don't write out any like all of the things because I'm visual, he's also visual, so that's kind of like how we make it work with our SOPs. And then if it's very like clunky, like the first video that we do together, he's gonna redo it for the other VAs. And then it's kind of like the Grey's Anatomy, like see one, do one, and teach one. So that's kind of like how we're doing our SOPs so that everyone learns. And then I don't have to teach all of the others down the line. I'm just teaching one person.
And Vivian asked, what does anyone use Scribe? What is Scribe?
It's another screen recorder that from what my friend told me, that you literally do the process yourself on your computer monitor, and it takes snapshots as you go along and creates a SOP as you do it.
Oh,
Yeah,
that sounds like
Tango
Tango.
does it. Yeah, I put Tango in there. Scribe and Tango are very similar.
Oh, similar
What is
to
it called?
I put it in the chat, Tango.us, but Scribe is another one, like Vivian said, that you record it, screen record, and then it creates an interactive guide for somebody else to follow.
What do you guys use for like password management? Because I fired someone like literally this week, and I was scared she was gonna do stuff to my Monday.com.
I use Bitwarden.
I use Google Sheets. I'm
No,
ashamed.
there should be
Disable
some-
everything and then fire them.
Sunny says LastPass.
And Chris says 1Password.
Yeah, I use LastPass also.
Hey,
But
is that
it
your
has,
password,
it has some
Chris?
bugs.
No, I heard there is supposed to be a software. I heard it on the Bigger Pockets. There was an interview recently with one of their VAs, and that's what actually sparked me to have this. But he mentioned that there was a software where you put in all the passwords, and then you can give access to the VAs, and all they do is they just paste it in there. But it's all scrambled, it's all encrypted, so they'll never actually get to see it. They can't copy and paste it ever. And then if you fire them, you remove that access, they can't get anymore. But I can listen to that podcast and that part, and I can find out and kind of put it in there.
Guys, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, Chris Tao.
Hey, so I use 1Password, and one account you can have, I think, 5 free guest users. So what I do is I give my VA the guest access, and when you share the password, you can set the password to expire certain time frame, and you can, if you fire them, you can cancel that password. So you have the master password that's hidden. When you share it out, 1Password generate a different password that in the backend gets translated to the real password, but the VA will never know the real password.
That's freaking
Yeah.
awesome. I love
I think
it.
it might have been 1Password then.
Yeah.
That's really good. Oh yeah, and Chris, thank you so much for giving us Donna full time.
Absolutely.
I wrote my to-do list like what Vivian said, and I gave myself a little panic attack. I told Nelson, I was like, if we're not hiring someone, I'm not doing SAREcon. So thank you for that. Cool. And so Chris, you also have a ton of VAs. You also do something different compared to the others, is that you are a syndicator and you manage multifamily properties with a gajillion units. Can you tell me how you use your team to help you with asset management?
Yeah, so my team originally is composed of 4 different VAs. So I have a full-time bookkeeper who does, can you guys hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay, so I have a bookkeeper who does my personal tax return. Oh, sorry, my personal and my own company bookkeeping. And then the bookkeeper does the financial audit for the multifamily property. Then I have a full-time, what I consider project coordinator. She basically oversees the mundane daily activity of the property, right? Making sure that rehab is done on time, checking for invoices being submitted. So what we do is essentially we have a 3-way check for all the asset management. You have the project coordinator that knows everything that's happening to the property. Unit 1, 2, 3 is getting $5,000 rehab. Okay, we get a quote, then we verify the invoice is actually submitted, and then the bookkeeper checks, make sure that $5,000 is paid out from the account, not anything more. Okay, and then we also do, and then of course I verify, make sure that everything's all tied up together. That's the 3-way check. So essentially, the project coordinator knows everything about the property, and then she reports it, set up the weekly ownership meeting. Then the owners can get together, make financial decisions, approving a $5,000 rehab. Do we want to do a new leasing, rent concession, those kind of things. Okay, and then we used to have Donna as the social media to help do the graphics design. Donna used to do our promotion flyers at the property. So we have pet contests, we have rent special Christmas parties. All that stuff is all done by Donna.
And that's the VA that we stole from Chris to full time. And then so Chris, because you deal with such sensitive information with like so much of like assets and people's like personal information, how do you protect yourself from your VAs to handle these sensitive private and proprietary information?
Yes, that's a very sensitive question. So it took me a long time to trust my bookkeeper. Before, he didn't have access to anything, right? Especially my bank account information like that. So over time, the trust level is built up. So my bookkeeper has read-only access to all my banking information. Okay, my bookkeeper knows what gifts I buy for my wife on Valentine's Day. Like, he sees everything. So there's a few times where my bookkeeper, because for Chinese New Year, right, we take cash out of our account. There's a few times where he said, "Hey, Chris, there's a $500 cash withdrawal. What is it for?" He was checking, make sure I wasn't being frauded and so forth. So yeah, so he's always on top of that. The trust level with my bookkeeper have gotten so good. Now he is also offering bookkeeping service for other people. So not just mine. Huh?
Is this Raul?
Yeah, it's Raul.
Whoa, that's amazing. I didn't know
Yeah.
you did so that much with that stuff. Wow.
Yeah, so Raul has been with me for over 3 years. He has all my personal information. He has all my business banking information, and then he also does it for other clients, many of which you might already know.
Yes.
So you have to build
been
up to
saving
that.
our butt too.
Yes. So from a property management perspective, they're out of Philippines, so they don't see like the tenant's social security number and so forth. That is already masked at the property management software. Okay, so my property manager have read-only access to the financial information. So that's something that you guys want to keep in mind, because you're paying somebody in Philippines and India for less than $10 an hour, but they're seeing multi-million-dollar financials. So, you just kind of have to train them eventually, and hopefully you already hire somebody who had done real estate. So they're not like, oh my God, Chris Tao is a billionaire or something in their standard, right? So that's where you have to be careful. I do catch and fire multiple VAs for faking timesheets. So that's something you have to oversee as well.
Chris, I want to ask you, is your bookkeeper just slinging receipts, or do they have training in generally accepted accounting principles?
So he does. He has a background in accounting back in India. So he is. So I stole him. Full disclosure. I actually pay somebody to find me. Oh, sorry. I actually pay an American company who does my bookkeeping. And the background person was Rahul. So I used to pay the American guy $1,200 a month just do my bookkeeping. And of course, Rahul get paid less than that, right? So eventually I was like, you know what? Hey, Rahul, I like you. Why don't I just hire you full time? So I actually stole him from another place. But the previous company trained him, filtered him through, and he has proper accounting.
So you pay him how much a month?
$8 an hour.
$8 an hour?
Mm-hmm.
Because like what I like about my bookkeeper, and she lives in Dallas, she like if she sees a receipt for like an HVAC or a water heater, then she actually puts that on a depreciation schedule as opposed to just expensing it as a receipt.
So depreciation, that's not something that Rahul can. I think depreciation is more of a CPA kind of thing. So he is able. So Rahul, the way I have got him to do, and he actually learned multifamily through me. So now all my companies is run in the traditional multifamily T12 style. Income, expenses categorized into internet, utilities, interest payment, mortgage payment. All my profit and loss statement look just like a real estate T12 now. which in my mind actually easier. And then we do, and then I'll share if you guys want to. I can share my what is it, COA? It's called accounting of, I don't know, chart of account for you guys. So we set up to where the chart of account is already categorized similarly to the tax return categories. Toll roll, we don't do mileage, but toll roll, utility, internet, business meals, and those kind of categories. So you guys can actually use my chart of accounts if you don't have one and start to categorize all your expenses accordingly. If you guys want feedback, talk to Tony, the CPA do, and kind of get a feedback on the type of financial statement we prepare for him to do tax return. He speaks very highly of Rahul's work.
Yeah, he's also the one that's helping us do our bookkeeping and handling with Tony too. So we're all, I'm telling you, the SARE fam, we all just kind of work together, and Tony has all of our social security number, Raul has all of our bank account numbers, you know, that's how close we all are now. So we're kind of getting up to that hour. So I'm gonna end it here, but I want to see if you guys might be interested in we do more of these so that we can kind of start building up our processes and start with the hiring, because I think this is super, super useful. But one part I don't think we've really had a chance to go through, because I think they'll take a lot longer, is how are you guys like or doing the task management and how you guys are actually organizing it, and maintaining your communication with people like on a regular thing. But I really want to thank everyone for their time, especially D'Angelo and Vivian, who's not feeling well, and Stephanie for sharing all your amazing feedback with us, and especially Chris for letting us steal your bookkeeper and your assistant. You've really changed my life, and I hope that today's conversations can help lead you guys to hire your first VA, because I just can't, like, I can't believe how much time I was wasting doing stupid things. And now this last 2 weeks, I've been able to accomplish so much more after we have Donna full time. So thank you guys for changing my life, and hope we can change yours next. All right, take care. Have a happy new year, everyone. 新年快乐. Bye bye. Bye bye.